I just finished watching the Indiana Fever's season opener game against the Chicago Sky, and you guys, we have so much to talk about.
All right, Caitlin Clark, triple-double getter, man. Love it what she was doing out there.
The Indiana Fever faced off against the Chicago Sky in a blowout victory, and I have 3 words. Oh my God. Or now you know.
On a night when the spotlight was supposed to shine on a clash of 2 rising stars, only one of them walked away, in control of the narrative. The Indiana Fever's matchup against the Chicago Sky wasn't just the most anticipated debut of the WNBA season. It was a collision course between hype and reality. Caitlin Clark didn't just meet expectations. She detonated them. With a triple-double performance that shattered debut records and silenced months of debate, she transformed a regular season opener into a cultural milestone. The sellout crowd of over 17,000 felt like a championship atmosphere.
All right, so the Indiana Fever ended up tweeting out this statement, man. Check this out. Every seat filled. Oh my goodness, every seat. No open seat. Are you kidding me? Gamebridge was electric in today's home opener. Now you know.
Social media spiraled within minutes. On the court, Clark was all business. And across the floor, Angel Reese, her perceived rival, was left visibly frustrated, boxed out of the spotlight, and boxed in by an Indiana defense that refused to give her room to breathe. This was more than a game. It was a clear message that Caitlin Clark wasn't just another top pick. She was already the league's most influential player. From her laser-accurate passes to her deep threes that barely grazed the rim, everything about her presence commanded attention.
If this doesn't strike fear in y'all heart, I don't know what would.
I woke up today and for some reason I had like 0 hesitation and full confidence in the Indiana Fever.
And for Angel Reese, the cameras never looked away, but not for the reasons she may have hoped. Emotional outbursts, missed layups, and a now viral block from Clark turned the conversation. What many hoped would be a battle of equals quickly turned into a demonstration of dominance. Even ESPN's framing of the game shifted in real time, as Clark's every move drew national focus, while Reese's impact faded under the weight of the scoreboard and the moment.
And why don't we start with what is going to be the biggest news for the next 3 months? So let's talk about Caitlin Clark's hard foul on Angel Reese.
Wow, standard operating procedure foul. ESPN, your anti-Caitlin Clark agenda on full display.
This matchup had long been painted as a rivalry, a clash of personalities, styles, and fan bases. But after the final buzzer, that narrative felt outdated. Reese wasn't the antagonist. She was the supporting character in Clark's breakthrough performance. The numbers told one story, the energy in the arena told another, and together they made it clear a new era in the WNBA had arrived, and Caitlin Clark was at the center of it.
Caitlin Clark with the phenomenal performance, bro. Oh my goodness.
Caitlin Clark recorded the first triple-double in a season opener in WNBA history.
And it was the worst nightmare that the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese could have possibly imagined.
For those tracking the future of the league, this night will be remembered not for tension, but for transformation. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Caitlin era if this game changed the way the WNBA is viewed going forward. What unfolded in this matchup wasn't just about points and possessions. It was about power, and that power just shifted. Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut wasn't just about living up to expectations. It was about redefining them.
She went 6 for 13, 4 for 8, shot brilliantly from the floor, brilliantly.
Caitlin Clark recorded a triple-double, 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds.
All right, heading back to the airport. Just went to game 1. Caitlin Clark show. Triple-double, 20, 10, 10. Fever win by 40. I win $400K because I had 13-1. I told you it was Caitlin's season. The Fever are the team to beat.
In her very first official game, she delivered a triple-double, 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. But it wasn't just the stat line that stunned. It was the way she controlled the floor like a seasoned pro. From the opening minutes, Clark was patient, composed, and surgical in her execution. She didn't force shots or overplay the moment. Instead, she calmly read the defense, picked her spots, and dismantled Chicago's scheme possession by possession.
And Caitlin coming out and performing the way she did, oh my goodness, man. I'm loving every bit of what the Indiana Fever are bringing.
Caitlin Clark doing a little bit of everything. Look at this right here. Coming down the court. Natasha Howard's cutting under the rim right there with the little finger roll lay-in. Beautiful, beautiful work.
We know that those passes are elite. all right? Elite passing, so you have to get elite hands, elite skills in order to finish elitely.
Her scoring came from everywhere. Transition floaters, off the dribble threes, and that now iconic deep logo shot that froze the crowd. But what truly separated her from other rookies was her vision. Time and again, she fired pinpoint passes that carved up the defense and created easy buckets for teammates. Her 10th assist, a perfect no-look feed to Aaliyah Boston, was the exclamation point on a performance that felt like it belonged in a playoff game, not a debut.
Caitlin Clark's dish to Aaliyah Boston. This was her 10th assist for what was her double-double at the time before it became a triple-double. Let me just back up.
Clark
Boom, let's
gets
go.
it back from Boston.
And she's just going to
Now
pass it right
bounces
over.
to
We'll
her.
pull up Jay.
Boston
Boom.
drops it in.
Right there. And that was the double-double.
It wasn't just a good first outing, it was a declaration. Clark walked into a sold-out arena with 17,000 fans, media pressure, and a so-called rivalry waiting. She walked out having turned the game into a showcase. From her first dribble, it was clear this wasn't about adjusting to the league, it was about setting the tone for.
I'm fevered out, man. I'm fevered out. Look at me. I'm fevered out. I got a 103 temperature. My eyes are hot. My feet hot. Everything hot.
Fever looked great. Caitlin Clark looks like she's going to be the MVP of the league. Angel Reese made a fool out of herself, and we won by 100, and I won.
This is what a sellout looks like. 17,274 fans, and it was fully sold out. It was packed.
Angel Reese entered the game with momentum. She was coming off a strong preseason showing, and the anticipation surrounding her first matchup against Caitlin Clark at the professional level was high. But once the ball tipped, it became clear that this wasn't going to be her night. Despite finishing with 17 rebounds and 12 points, Reese struggled to convert when it mattered.
Angel Reese led her team. She did get another double-double.
Reese had 12 points, 5 turnovers. Not too good today. 1 assist, had 17 rebounds. She was hustling. She was hustling those rebounds. 1 for 2 from the 3, 5 for 14 from the floor.
Shooting just 35% from the field, her offensive rhythm was consistently disrupted by Indiana's interior defense. The stats sheet might suggest a productive night, but a deeper look revealed a player chasing the game rather than controlling it.
Angel Reese, 17 boards, 12 points, and a losing effort. What do you guys always hear me say on this channel? Just about like clockwork, if she gets a double-double, they're gonna lose the game.
One moment in particular symbolized the tone of her performance, a blocked layup attempt by Clark that went viral within minutes. It wasn't just the block, it was the reaction. The Fever bench erupted, and Reese's frustration boiled over. Her energy shifted, her body language tightened, and her attempts to reassert control only magnified the gap in composure between her and Clark.
Because we have got to talk about that game. Oh my gosh, so much to go over.
And then obviously Angel Reese, who actually played okay and looked like she improved her game, made a mockery of her existence. She got fouled, totally common foul by Caitlin Clark, going for a layup, falls down and then attacks her basically and makes it just a joke out of her existence and why everybody hates Angel Reese. And shame on the WNBA upgrading this to a flagrant foul. That's a flagrant foul. It was the most common routine foul of all time.
While Clark thrived under spotlight, Reese seemed weighed down by it. For every rebound she grabbed, there were missed layups and possessions that ended with her pleading for calls that never came. Reese's defensive effort and rebounding were commendable, but they couldn't mask her inefficiency or emotional volatility. Unlike her collegiate clashes with Clark, this wasn't a back-and-forth battle.
Angel Reese, offensive rebound. Angel Reese misses two-point shot. Angel Reese, offensive rebound. Angel Reese misses layup. I mean, we're right back to where we were last season.
Look what they shot. Look what they shot.
Look at that, folks. That is a blowout, a drubbing, a smashing. I mean, it is absolutely insane.
Abysmal work. This is on you, coach. Shooting 29 from the field, 22 from the 3, and then only 50 from the free throw line. This is on you, coach.
It was a one-sided showcase that placed Clark's polish and poise next to Reese's visible frustration. In a game billed as a rivalry, the balance of power was nowhere near. While Caitlin Clark stole headlines, the Indiana Fever as a whole delivered a performance that showcased just how deep and dangerous this roster could become.
The Indiana Fever beat the Sky by nearly 40 points. They won 93-58.
19 assists, the ball was moving around, and 37 rebounds. I think we out-rebounded. We out-rebounded the Twin Towers. That is beautiful work. That is deadly.
The final score wasn't close. Indiana dismantled the Chicago Sky by nearly 30 points, but this wasn't a one-woman show. Aaliyah Boston dominated inside with 19 points and 13 rebounds, controlling the paint on both ends.
Aaliyah Boston. Let's go, Boston. That's how you get big in the paint. All those blocks. How many blocks she had? 5 blocks, 19 points. Come on, man, with 13 rebounds.
And I want to say this about Aaliyah Boston. She stepped up so much in the second half, and I have to say that is the best I think I've ever seen Aaliyah Boston play.
Natasha Howard added 15 points with high-effort cuts and transition finishes, while Kelsey Mitchell poured in another 15, giving the Fever a balanced defensive attack that overwhelmed Chicago from every angle.
Kelsey Mitchell, mangled hand and all, still coming away with 15 points.
Kelsey Mitchell, 6 for 12 from the floor, 2 for 4 from the 3, also doing her thing. 15 points, 1 steal, 2 assists.
The Fever's ball movement was crisp and calculated, often initiated by Clark's early outlet passes and followed by seamless transitions into scoring opportunities. The team's spacing created driving lanes, and their screens freed up shooters on the perimeter. This wasn't a team still trying to figure out roles. It was a cohesive unit moving with purpose. Even when Clark sat for stretches, Indiana didn't lose momentum. Their defense swarmed the ball, switching aggressively and cutting off angles before Chicago could respond.
One thing that I did notice is that their defense looks so much better than last season. They are getting hands on the balls. They are rotating so much better. They had so many steals.
Caitlin Clark's stat line, let me just read it to you. She came away with 20 points, 4 blocks, that's a career high for her, 2 steals, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. Like, who are you, Caitlin Clark?
The defense, phenomenal today. Phenomenal. Look, exceptional, man. I love the defense that was coming from the Indiana Fever. I know I be saying I love everybody's defense, but this defense right here, chef kiss. All right.
On several occasions, the Sky were forced into rushed possessions and bad shots, unable to create anything meaningful. Every time Chicago tried to mount a comeback, Indiana answered with a run of its own, either fueled by a clutch 3, a defensive stop, or a perfectly timed assist. From tip-off to the final buzzer, it was a tactical and emotional beatdown. The message was clear. This Fever team isn't just building around Clark. They're building around a winning culture. And in this game, that culture was on full display.
Even in the first half, I didn't think that they were playing up to their full speed. They were missing a lot of layups. There were some silly turnovers. I felt like the rotation on offense, the ball movement was a little bit slow for my liking. Like they weren't totally in the flow of their offense.
Started slow a little bit, but picked it up and looked phenomenal. 4 for 4 from the free throw line, took care of the line, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 20 points. Come on, man. MVP.
As dominant as the Fever were on the court, the post-game internet reaction took things to an entirely different level. Almost instantly, Caitlin Clark's highlight reel flooded every major social platform. The logo three-pointer in the second quarter, launched casually from just inside half court, was clipped, looped, and reposted across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok within minutes.
Let's look first logo 3 of the year.
From her catching around
right
that
here.
15-foot
Pull up
area.
from way down. Boom.
Fans, analysts, and athletes reacted in real time with hashtags like hashtag Clark Logo Shot and hashtag WMBC trending by the hour. It wasn't just basketball fans chiming in. Celebrities, influencers, and even NBA players reposted her highlights, praising the poise and flash of her debut.
Even LeBron James posted about her triple-double, congratulating her. Tamika Catchings was there right after the game to give her a hug.
But it didn't stop with the 3. Her 10th assist, a no-look dish to Aaliyah Boston through 2 defenders, became another viral moment. Commentators called it Steph Curry meets Sabrina Ionescu, and the slow-motion breakdowns only added to the mystique. Every angle showed the same thing, a rookie controlling the flow of a professional game like it was playground basketball. The internet ate it up. Clips of Clark blocking Angel Reese's shot were meme-iffy, framed as symbolic, if not poetic, payback for the rivalry that had built up since college. Meanwhile, ESPN, Bleacher Report, and SportsCenter dedicated entire segments to dissecting Clark's debut. One graphic graphic even compared her social engagement numbers to top NBA players from the same night. She wasn't just the story of the game, she was the story of the day. And as the media blitz continued, it was obvious the WNBA had a new viral engine. Clark's debut wasn't just impressive in real time, it had staying power. Every replay, every tweet, every quote amplified the gap between expectation and reality. And with each scroll, the rivalry between her and Angel Reese took a back seat to something much bigger, a league moment gone mainstream. The camera angles told one story, the body language told another, and the audio, subtle but telling, revealed even more. Throughout the game, Caitlin Clark maintained the same calm, sharp focus that defined her college career. She communicated clearly with teammates, pointed out defensive rotations, and celebrated with quiet confidence after each bucket or assist. Her demeanor suggested a player fully aware of the magnitude of the moment, yet completely unshaken by it. In contrast, Angel Reese's emotions were on full display, escalating as the Fever widened their lead. The broadcast caught glimpses of her muttering under her breath, gesturing at referees, and pacing the lane in frustration after contested rebounds and missed layups. One moment that stood out came just before halftime. After Clark hit a buzzer-beating three to close out the second quarter, Reese was seen shouting in the direction of the Fever bench. While the microphones didn't catch the exact words, lip readers and fans quickly pieced together her reaction, an expletive-laced eruption that quickly made its way across social media. Analysts debated whether it was directed at Clark, the officials, or her own teammates. Either way, it exposed a raw nerve. Reese wasn't just battling a team, she was battling the narrative that was forming in real time and losing. What made the contrast more glaring was the way Clark responded to those heated moments. There were no retaliatory gestures, no trash talk, no overreactions. She let the scoreboard do the talking and stayed locked into the game plan. As the cameras panned to both benches during timeouts, the gap in composure was stark. The Fever huddled with energy and smiles. The sky looked tense and divided. Clark's leadership extended beyond stat lines. It was emotional control in a pressure cooker. And that control was contagious, lifting Indiana while leaving Chicago scrambling to keep up. By the start of the fourth quarter, the competitive tension had all but evaporated. The Indiana Fever were up by more than 20 points, and the game had shifted from a closely watched rivalry to a lopsided statement. Every possession only seemed to deepen the divide between expectation and outcome. The Chicago Sky, who came into the matchup with confidence and media hype centered around Angel Reese, found themselves unraveling under the Fever's relentless pace and execution. What began as a clash between two rookie stars quickly transformed into a showcase of dominance, not just by Caitlin Clark individually, but by a Fever squad firing on all cylinders. Indiana didn't take their foot off the gas. Clark continued orchestrating possessions with pinpoint accuracy, and her teammates capitalized on every mismatch. Aaliyah Boston continued to dominate the paint with post-ups and second-chance points, while Kelsey Mitchell exploited weak perimeter defense with clean jumpers. Natasha Howard cleaned up on both ends, securing rebounds and forcing turnovers. The entire team played with a level of chemistry that suggested they had been building toward this for months, not just weeks. The Sky, meanwhile, struggled to find rhythm. Possessions were rushed, spacing was inconsistent, and Angel Reese, despite her rebounding totals, couldn't establish control in the paint or on the scoreboard. Her field goal percentage dipped further as the Fever tightened their rotations and dared her to shoot over taller defenders. Even with 17 rebounds, her impact felt empty in the shadow of Clark's complete command. What made the blowout feel even more definitive was the energy of the crowd. Every Clark assist drew wars. Every contested rebound by Boston was met with chants. By the final minutes, fans weren't just enjoying a win, they were witnessing a message being sent to the rest of the league. This wasn't just an early season victory, it was a declaration of what's to come. And while Reese remained on the floor through the final buzzer, the game had long since slipped away. This wasn't the battle many expected, it was a coronation. Before the opening tip-off, expectations were already high. But by the time the final buzzer sounded, the numbers confirmed what the energy in the arena had already made clear. This wasn't just a game, it was an event. The Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky matchup drew over 17,000 fans, a full-capacity sellout that rivaled postseason attendance. The crowd wasn't just enthusiastic, they were electric, reacting to every Clark assist and every Boston block like they were watching a championship final. From courtside celebrities to families decked out in newly purchased Fever jerseys, the building pulsed with anticipation and delivered on every bit of it. The television viewership followed suit. Early broadcast reports indicated a dramatic spike in ratings, making it one of the most watched regular season WNBA games in recent years. Social media platforms amplified the reach even further. Clark-related hashtags trended globally. Clips from the game flooded timelines, and ESPN reran key moments during primetime highlights. In contrast to prior seasons, where early games often slipped by unnoticed, this contest sparked round-the-clock commentary on major sports talk shows, podcasts, and digital outlets. Suddenly, the WNBA wasn't just part of the conversation, it was leading it. This visibility brought a shift in tone from media outlets that had previously framed the Clark-Reese storyline as a balanced rival. The blowout, Clark's triple-double, and Reese's visible frustration forced a recalibration. Analysts began to emphasize the disparity in performance. Headlines moved away from rematch language and toward themes of transition and takeover. Clark's impact wasn't framed as potential anymore. It was current, immediate, and undeniable. What emerged wasn't just a spike in interest, but a redefinition of how star power works in the WNBA. Clark's presence created a ripple effect that transcended her own play. Ticket sales surged. Merchandise moved. Online engagement exploded. For the first time in years, the league had a player capable of shifting metrics on her own, and it was happening in real time. What was once marketed as a rivalry between two of the most talked about rookies in women's basketball has been fundamentally rewritten. After one decisive game, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese no longer appear as two forces destined to clash in even battles. Instead, the gap, visible in both performance and presence, has grown too wide to ignore. Clark dictated the game on every level: pacing, scoring, decision-making, and poise. Her triple-double didn't just dominate the stat sheet, it carved out a new standard for how rookies and future stars will be measured moving forward. And when the moment called for elevation, she soared. Angel Reese, on the other hand, showed flashes of effort. 17 rebounds is no small feat, but the execution and composure simply weren't there. Game tape reveals the imbalance clearly. Missed layups in traffic, emotional reactions after calls, defensive lapses when Clark accelerated the pace. The most defining play wasn't even a basket, it was Clark's block on Reese in the paint. One moment, one sequence that visually captured the power shift between two players who entered the league with so much shared history. And while Reese will have opportunities to bounce back, this first professional clash left her in the role of a supporting character rather than an equal adversary. From a team perspective, Indiana looked like a group that had already bought into a bigger mission. The Fever's rotations were crisp, their chemistry real, and their leadership centered around a rookie who didn't just rise to the moment, she owned it. The Sky, by contrast, fragmented. They showed effort but lacked execution. It was never a question of talent, it was a question of control, and Caitlin Clark had all of it. The aftermath confirmed what the game suggested. Media coverage tilted overwhelmingly toward Clark's debut. Headlines called it a generational arrival, and social media crowned her the league's new centerpiece. What started as a rematch narrative ended as a takeover. One player proved she's here to shift the direction of the league. The other was left grasping for relevance in the wake of a blowout. This wasn't just a game, it was a defining moment for the WNBA. A star didn't just rise, she took the whole spotlight with her.